Hi everybody, I'm Jared Pike. This is Shell Point Today for the weekend of February 28th, March 1st, and March 2nd. On today's show, we visit the Community Thrift Store, which is holding a special event on Monday for people who want to learn more about volunteering there. But first, it's an absolute jam-packed weekend, so listen up as we run through what you need to know, beginning with the grand opening of the LifeQuest Aquatic Center. It's been a long time coming, and now you have the opportunity to tour all the brand new facilities available to you, including a hot tub, exercise pool, lap pool, and more. Tours take place Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can also learn more from Dr. Bruce Becker, who will be speaking about the life-changing benefits of aquatic exercise at 2:15 p.m. in the Social Center. All are welcome. Also on Friday, auditions will happen for the spring performance of Spot, Shell Point's own theater. Spot performances involve no memorization, as they are all staged readings of a script. But we need both men and women to bring that script to life. In this case, a mystery comedy by Fred Carmichael called Don't Mention My Name. All are welcome to auditions for Shell Point's own theater, happening at 4 p.m. in the Social Center on the island. And then, a musical performance guaranteed to get your toes tapping. The Barbary Coast Dixieland Band are always a favorite. Since 1967, they've put on a full stage show, playing the happiest music on earth. And as they switch instruments back and forth, even in the middle of a song, you can tell these are the best musicians around. Get your tickets for the Barbary Coast Dixieland Band, performing at 7:30 p.m. at the Church Auditorium. Tickets are available at either service desk or by calling our box office at 454-2067. Now today is also the last day of the month, which means that your newest issue of Shell Point Life magazine will be arriving in your mailboxes. Peruse through the events and activities and be ready to sign up for your favorites starting Monday at 8:15 a.m. at either service desk. Of course, there are events happening on Saturday which are too early to squeeze into the magazine, so we're telling you about them now. First, the Shell Point Walking Club is hosting its monthly outing, this time to Caloosahatchee Regional Park, near the town of Alva. This setting is less beachfront and more pinewood, for those who enjoy walking in a forest setting. There is a 3-mile and a 5-mile trail, so if you're up for it, join the Shell Point Walking Club carpool, meeting Saturday morning at 8 a.m. at the administration courtyard on the island. Also Saturday, Shell Point is taking a trip to the Naples Quilt Show. You'll see quilts of all sizes, witness demonstrations and antiques, and have the opportunity to buy what you see. Join the trip to the Naples Quilt Show with court pickup starting at 8:30 a.m. on Saturday. Sign up for this trip by calling the Island Service Desk at 454-2282 or the Woodland Service Desk at 454-2054. One other event you'll want to get a jump on, spring training. That's right, the baseball boys are back in town, and this month, Shell Point is giving you 2 chances to see your world champion, Boston Red Sox. On Friday, March 7th, they take on the Atlanta Braves. And on Friday, March 28th, the Minnesota Twins host the Red Sox. Our packages include tickets and transportation, but the hot dogs and Cracker Jacks are up to you. Remember, sign up for these trips begins on Monday at 8:15 a.m. Now, we'd like to preview an event on Monday taking place at the Community Thrift Store. The thrift store thrives on volunteers, from those who sort and price merchandise to those who work on the sales floor, even those who create the beautiful store displays. If you've always wondered about volunteering at the thrift store, you can get a personal tour of the place this Monday at 9 a.m. Just call Melody Desolé at 454-2290 to reserve your spot. We talked to several thrift store volunteers to learn more.
This space is 11,000 square foot, which is, we are so fortunate and blessed to have this additional space because we are very crowded in our other space. But with that addition, we have more things on display. And we have more people, more traffic coming into the store. We have been able to expand our building supply area. We have more furniture. Our clothing area has expanded. So with all of those expansions, right now we have a need of people in the cashier area. We have some fabulous ladies that love to cashier. They're so personable and they do a fantastic job for us, but we could use some additional help. What normally happens is we have a cashier and then we have a cashier assistant, so to speak. They help bag the things. So if somebody is buying a set of dishes, we like to take newspaper and wrap all the dishes up, and it's that extra service that our store does that the other thrift stores don't do, that people really appreciate our thrift store, because we take that time and effort to make sure things don't get broken or chipped, but we need that extra help.
Well, what are the store hours and days?
Our hours are 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. And there are various shifts available, and we could always use additional help. We're seeing those northern snowbirds coming down to Florida now, so we just have a lot more traffic coming in, people buying those early holiday things, and we just need additional help in that area.
That's wonderful. Now, with the exception of our manager here, Patty, and you, this whole entire community thrift store is run by resident volunteers.
That's correct. We have 2 Shell Point employees, and the rest of it is all run by volunteers from Shell Point, and they do a fantastic job.
So you can see it's such a wonderful environment, so welcoming and warm, and it's such a great place to get out and volunteer within your community. We're back here behind the scenes where they're actually pricing and sorting. Now, Patty, typically what happens when you're pricing and sorting? Because we see that a lot of things come in, and then what's the process?
Actually, we have a receiving department that will bring in our items that are donated. It is lined up here. They sort through them and they price it individually accordingly. And at that point, it goes onto the cart, into the basket, and then it goes out onto the floor. So they work very hard to get it done and to make sure that our floor is fully stocked and available for our customers. We have unique pieces that come in, and when that happens, we have a research team. And they will go online and research the different things that we get, something that might be an antique or of a high value, and they'll research it so that we can price it appropriately, but yet within a thrift store pricing.
So typically when we think of Shell Point, we think of residence belongings, but you have unique items ranging from children's and baby clothes and things, all the way up through antiques, like
Absolutely.
you were saying.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
it's quite a phenomenon here, for sure.
Yes.
We're back out here on the sales floor, and as you saw from the past footage, it's very streamlined here, but it's also very fun and exciting to see new items, unique items and things. And I'm back here now with Jean Hannon, and Jean, we're gonna do a little day in the life of, so to speak. Can you tell us typically what a salesperson would do in a day and give us an example?
Certainly. Well, our main focus, to explain first of all, is to keep the store organized and attractive. And if you look around, you're going to see things that are not in place or not looking the way that they should be. So one of our responsibilities is to go around, for example, okay, this skirt doesn't look so good, we need to straighten that out. And I think this would look a little bit better if that was hung like that. And we put that in front where it will look better. So that's the sort of thing that we do. We're very conscious of the impression people get when they walk in the door. We also are conscious of what the people want, what the customers want. So when they walk in the door, if they say, oh, I'm looking for a pair of black slacks in a size 12, where would I find them? We can take them right to the rack. So it makes it very easy for the customer to shop here. And we have a lot of compliments on how organized the store looks.
Well, I see with the organization it also is easier on the volunteers because they know, okay, this is an extra small, it's a white woman shirt, I'm going to put it here. And so if you streamline the floor from the get-go, which you have done clearly, it makes it easier.
Yes, it does. It does. And we do have fun doing it. We really do. We love doing, we call this the boutique because these are better labels, high-end labels, and little fancier things, and we love doing this, changing it around. And a very important thing, and we enjoy doing this also, is having new merchandise out almost daily, but certainly every week, because we have regular customers that come in every week. They want to see different things, and that's what keeps them coming back. So the back room there, where all of our supplies are and where all the clothes, we have them all ready to bring out, we need to get those out here every day, and that's a big function also of our sales committee. That's what we do. We get those clothes out here as often as we can do that and change what they look at when they come in the door. So there's a little bit of learning when you start working here, but it comes very easily and it's fun to do it.
Now, what if there's a volunteer that may need to sit for a spell? Is there a position for them maybe by the jewelry counter?
Well, there is, yes. We have the jewelry counter. We also take care of that. And we do have people there that cannot be walking around on the floor that much. But many of those people, the better place for them is really in pricing, because they can sit in the workroom. So that's a good spot for someone who cannot stand too long, because this is physical. You do need to be walking around and helping the customers and hanging things up.
Well, of the 3 current positions open, we have cashier, sales, and pricing and sorting. So we're looking for all sorts of demographics here. We can take men, we can take women, and if you need to take a break, we can use you as well. So please join us in coming to the community thrift store, where we have a lot of camaraderie, we have a lot of fun. If you are interested in possibly volunteering, please get a hold of me. My number is 454-2290, and again, my name is Melody. Thank you so much for joining us here today, and we hope to see you out in our community thrift store.
If you want to see these opportunities in person, the Community Thrift Store is offering a special tour just for potential volunteers. It starts Monday morning at 9 a.m., and bus transportation is available. To sign up, call Melody Desolé at 454-2290. We had some amazing stories this week, from the history of the gift shop to a floral bouquet created entirely out of shells. We'll replay some of the best stories in our Shell Point TV Week in Review. But first, let's cover all of this weekend's happenings: Academy news, menus, and church news.
Welcome to the weekend edition of Shell Point's Happenings segment. My name is Bev Chandler. I'm here with Leslie Brand. We're going to go over the entire Friday, Saturday, and Sunday activity lineups for you. Friday starts out at 8 o'clock with the men's match play, doubles tennis going on at the Woodlands tennis courts. And 8:15 we have the stamp ministry. They'll be in the stamp room down in the tunnel. At 8:30 until 11:30 we have the marketplace in Administration Courtyard, so don't forget to go there for some fun. 9:15 the Pavilion Auxiliary Orientation. That's held in the hospitality room of the Village Church. Sign up is required. At 10 o'clock, it's time for Canasta. That's played in the game room of the Woodlands. Also at 10 o'clock, we have the men's match play, doubles tennis. That'll be at the Woodlands tennis courts. Inquiring minds will be gathering in the Manatee Room on the island at 10:15. Then we move to 10:30 for golf croquet. That's being held on the bocce court down at the Woodlands. At 11 o'clock, LifeQuest Aquatic Center grand opening will be going on. That will be at the LifeQuest Aquatic Center on the island from 11 o'clock until 2 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, our Suzy Q boat's going off to the Marker 92 for lunch. Sign up is required for that. We're going to jump to the afternoon where 12:30 we'll have mixed progressive bridge. That'll be in the game room of the Woodlands. And at 1:15 we have table tennis. That's held in the Tarpon Room on the island. Also at 1:15 the quilters will gather in the Osprey Room. 1:30, we have the model train room open for tours. Those tours run from 1:30 until 3:30. 1:30, we have the technical question and answer period with Brian Gainey. He'll be in the Oak Room of the Woodlands. At 1:30, Vespers will be held in the community room of the Arbor. And you'll find euchre played in the Sable Room at the Woodlands at 2 o'clock. At 2:15, we have a Life Quest Aquatic Center presentation by Dr. Bruce Becker. That'll be in the Social Center. And at 2:45, we have a second Vespers, this time in the community room of King's Crown. At 4 o'clock, Shell Point's own theater, or what we call spot auditions, will be in the Social Center on the island. At 6:45, it's game night in the Resident Activity Center, so if you're interested in gathering up some friends and heading down there, they have a good time on Friday nights there. 7:30, the Barbary Coast Dixieland Band will be playing at the Village Church. You do need to have a ticket. That was a long Friday, but here's Leslie to tell you about our Saturday lineup.
Thank you, Bev. We're going to start out this Saturday at 8 o'clock with the round robin doubles tennis at the tennis courts. 8 o'clock, we have the Shell Point Walk-In Club meet at the Administration Courtyard on the island. 8:30, A Stitch in Time, the 30th Annual Naples Quilt Show. Sign up is required for this. The court pickups will start at 8:30 on the island, 8:40 at the Woodlands, and 8:50 at Eagles Preserve. 9 o'clock is pickleball at the pickleball court on the island. 9:30 is the women's doubles at the tennis courts at the Woodlands. 9:45, duplicate bridge in the Manatee Room. The Model Yacht Sailing Club will be at 10:15 in the Garden Apartment Pond. 1 o'clock is chess in the Library Lounge at the Resident Activity Center. 1:15, table tennis in the Tarpon Room on the island. 3:15, basic line dancing in the Health Club. And 6:15 is the Symphony Classical Series at the Barbara Breman Theater. Court pickups start at 6:15 on the island, 6:25 at the Woodlands, and 6:35 at Eagles Preserve. And 6:30 is the duplicate bridge in the Manatee Room. Well, that about rounds out our Saturday, and Bev's here to take away Sunday, but it is her birthday, so make sure you shout out happy birthday, Bev.
We're going to start out at 9 o'clock today with Christian Life Studies in the Game Room of the Woodlands. At 9:15, we have our Christian Life Studies at the Village Church on the island. Our morning worship service will be at the Village Church at 10:15, and it's also broadcast live on Shell Point TV, Channel 12. We're going to jump all the way to the afternoon for a 1:30 mixed golf league at the Shell Point Golf Club. At 3:15, we have ballroom line dancing for beginners. That gathers in the Health Club on the island. And we're going to close out the evening with our evening service at the Village Church. That begins at 6:15. Well, thanks for joining us for the weekend edition, and we will see you back here next week.
Hi, I'm Terry Colath with your Academy courses for the weekend. On Friday, February 28th at 9:15, Adobe Photoshop Elements will continue in the Computer Teaching Center on the island. At 10 o'clock, iPhone, iPod, iTouch, digital photography will take place in the Sable Room of the Woodlands for those who signed up. At 2 o'clock, How to Evaluate a Photograph will be presented in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands, and all are welcome. I'd like to share with you the new classes coming next week. On Monday, we have an iWorks class presented by Penny Modrich of Nautilus. On Tuesday, we have iPad tips and techniques with Penny Modrich of Nautilus, Bruce Findlay of Sundial, and we have Beautiful Science 10 with Pastor Dawn Stainhook. On Wednesday, we have a Google Maps and Google Earth course with Larry Brock of Eagles Preserve, and we have 2 prep school classes with Rich Nelson of Lakewood. One is on the flash drive, and the other is on the internet. On Thursday, we have an Academy on the Go educational field trip to Babcock Ranch. It's a swamp buggy nature tour. We also have a coffee with a neighbor, and our neighbor is artist Sandy Ayler. She will be presenting a course on her art and the art of Henri Matisse. We also have Shakespeare Histories with Ray Boyce of Rosemont.
Menus for your weekend. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter on Friday is shrimp and grits served with fried okra. The dinner special is the seafood buffet for $14.95, and the soup of the day is Manhattan clam chowder. In the Island Cafe for lunch, enjoy a turkey Reuben with fries for $7.25. The dinner special is Chef's Choice for $8.25. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill on Friday are lamb chops for $21.95 or salmon Wellington for $18.95. On Saturday, the Crystal Room is closed. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Saturday, the special is grilled ranch chicken with a side salad for $7.25. The dinner special is baked chicken with mashed potatoes and green beans for $8.25. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill on Saturday are prime rib for $19.95 or beef bourguignon for $15.95. On Sunday, the Crystal Room features its Sunday brunch for $17.50. In the Island Cafe for lunch on Sunday, the special is a bacon, egg, and cheese croissant with fresh fruit for $7.25. The dinner special is Chef's Choice for $8.25. And the Palm Grill is closed on Sundays. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to Village Church Connections. Thank you for joining us today. I'm here with our senior pastor, Pastor Andy Hawkins, and we're here to talk about the weekend.
That's right.
Andy, you began several weeks ago a study in the book of Hebrews.
That's right.
And you've spent the first several weeks just laying a framework for the study, which we've really appreciated. But this week you're going to dive in.
We are.
Hebrews 1. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about the series and particularly this Sunday.
Sure. I think the foundation was laid. In fact, I had some people who knew I was going to preach on Hebrews who just wondered, why Hebrews? What about Hebrews? Well, Hebrews is all about Christ. Mm-hmm. It's all about Jesus. And it exalts Jesus, and it does so in some remarkable ways, and has always been deeply meaningful to me. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the kind of thing that a church ought to focus on, especially as we are in the early stages of a ministry here. I began a ministry with the book of Ephesians, which is about the church. Hebrews is about Jesus. And so that's really the driving force behind it. And we sort of laid the groundwork for that by doing a bit of an overview of the book. This time we begin by starting with our verse-by-verse kind of exposition, which is what I love to do with the Scriptures. There's so much richness in the book of Hebrews. And we call the series The Superior Christ because the way that the author of the book of Hebrews demonstrates the superior Christ is by a series of comparisons. He compares Jesus to a lot of other things that people tend to hold in extraordinarily high esteem. And so the first thing that we get, and right at the very beginning of the book, is that God speaks. God speaks and has spoken through the prophets over centuries. But now He's spoken in His Son, through His Son. And so Jesus is a superior revelation because He is now the Word of God incarnate who comes to us and not only speaks the Word of God, but demonstrates it and is, in fact, the Word of God in person. And so there's a great deal of richness in just the first two verses in which Jesus is shown to be the superior revelation. And so that's where we sort of get off and running in our study of the book of Hebrews by these comparisons, and the first one is a wonderful one.
So Hebrews 1 and 2 this week.
That's right.
I have to tell you, I took the book of Hebrews years ago in college and was just deeply impacted by the richness of that book. I think it was my favorite that I took back then in college. So I'm looking forward to this series because it will refresh all of that. It will also be communion on Sunday.
That's right.
So we look forward to that. And then Sunday night, you are picking up a series that you had begun some months ago on the dimensions of grace. And you had to set it aside a little bit because of a lot of activity that was going on, but you've picked that series back up. It's based on an African hymn.
That's right.
As far as your outline, the grace factors based in Scripture. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's interesting. It was a hymn entitled "Oh, How the Grace of God Amazes Me," Now, we could have used Amazing Grace as well. Everybody knows that. But I thought a fresh look at a way in which an African pastor looks at the grace of God. And he wrote this back in the middle part of the 20th century. And it's a rich exposition, really, and hymn of how the different dimensions of grace affect us. And it's easy for us to sort of define grace and recognize that we've received the unmerited favor of God. But when you really start to get into it, you realize so many dimensions of it affect us in so many ways, in our salvation, in the provisions that God has for us, in our ability to fight against temptation, to live in a culture and in the midst of conflict enables us to get through that, glorifying God. So many different dimensions of grace. And in this week, we're going to be looking at what's called the Great Exchange, in which what happens in the person and work of Christ is that he takes upon himself our sin and becomes sin for us. And at the same time, we take upon ourselves the righteousness of Christ, who alone is righteous. What an extraordinary deal that is. I mean, we can't even imagine having a deal like that, but that's the nature of the exchange that God has for us in Christ. And I always wonder, people wonder, well, what about Christ? Why is it so significant that Christ would be the way that God has designed for us to come to salvation? Well, it's because of this great exchange. There's no other human being, no other even heavenly being who could ever offer that kind of exchange for us. Only Jesus can do that and has done that. And that's what's so exciting about this dimension of grace.
And it's a gift. Just nothing we earn or deserve. That's what's so beautiful about it.
That's right.
So Sunday morning we'll be looking at Christ in particular, but then Sunday night we'll be looking at grace.
That's right.
And unpacking that.
That's right.
Be a wonderful day.
It's going to be a great day.
We invite you to join us Sunday morning at 10:15, Sunday night at 6:15. Have a wonderful day.
We are replaying some of the week's best stories from Shell Point TV, and we began this week by previewing a Friday photography class from Herb Sklar.
Hi everyone, I'm Terry Kolath, and I'm here with photographer Herb Sklar of Eagles Preserve. We're talking about a lecture he developed for the Academy of Lifelong Learning, how to evaluate a photograph.
Right.
Thanks for joining me, Herb.
You're welcome.
Tell me, why is it important that we learn how to evaluate any photograph?
Well, you really can't improve unless you could really judge your own work, and that's what we do at the photo club meeting once a month, where we pick a subject and everybody takes pictures. It's put up on the wall, and the photographer stands up and talks about it, and then everybody talks about it, and I give a critique. And once you can really start to know the difference between good, bad, then you really can improve. But this one is a little more sophisticated. This lecture, I use a three-element prong. And the three elements are strong composition, beautiful lighting, and the decisive moment. And it's if you have all three of those things, beautiful lighting, decisive moment, and great composition, you have what I call a fabulous photo. If you have any two of those elements, you have a great photo. If you have one, you have a good photo. And I'm going to use that with, this show is filled with over 100 beautiful photographs. They're not mine, so I could say that. And when we get into composition, I'm going to break it down. I'm going to go through all the different things that you need in a composition. You don't use them all, but all the different techniques, and I'll show photographs. I'll read off the list. I don't like a rule of thirds, texture, patterns, depth of field, odd numbers, fill the frame, balance, negative space, and leading lines. They all can't be in the same picture, but if some of them are, a lot of them are, you're going to have a very strong composition, and that'll give you 1 star. Okay, and then we'll go for beautiful lighting. Well, beautiful lighting is the golden hour, early morning, late night, a beautiful artificial light, diffused light, and if you have beautiful light, you get a star for that. So now you got 2 of the elements. And the third is the decisive moment, which is a little trickier. This was developed by Carter Bresson, a famous French photographer, and he called, that was the creative fraction of a second that you press the shutter. And I'll explain that to you. Suppose you was a bear in a river, okay, and this bear is there and he's got his mouth open, and a fish jumps up. And if the fish was just coming out of the water, you necessarily wouldn't think the fish was going to end up in the bear's mouth. If you took the picture when the fish was in the bear's mouth, well, it's anticlimactic. It's over. But when you see that fish is this far and you know where it's going, that's the decisive moment. And if you can add that to your photography, you bring it up another notch.
That's wonderful. Well, again, something we have an opportunity here to enjoy is good photographs. And now maybe we'll notice some great photographs.
Fabulous photographs.
Super. Thank you so much,
You're
Herb.
welcome.
We hope that you will make plans to attend this lecture Friday, 2 o'clock in the Grand Cypress Room. As Herb says, you'll be looking at a lot of fabulous photographs.
On Monday, we'll learn about managing high blood pressure or hypertension from one of our Shell Point pharmacists.
High blood pressure affects many American adults. And we're here today with a Health Connections program that is going to take place on Monday, March 3rd in the Social Center at 1:15 p.m. Our presenter is our very own Yao Adu Sarkoti from the pharmacy. Thanks for being here, Yao.
Thank you, Mary.
And you're going to talk about the treatment of hypertension, high blood pressure, right?
Yes.
And I find this very interesting, your topic, because you're a pharmacist, and you would think you would say, take 2 of these and call me in the morning.
Right.
Right? But you have a twist, right?
Yes.
What is the twist to this presentation?
The twist to it will be what we call lifestyle modifications. And that's actually part of a prescription by the Joint National Committee that as part of the whole treatment pathway, the first step is going to lifestyle modifications before, tackling any drug therapy.
Okay. And by lifestyle modifications, you mean those things that we don't like to talk about all the time. Diet, exercise, if you're a smoker, stop smoking, alcohol consumption, keep that lower. Those are hard things to tackle sometimes, especially if you've been doing it throughout your whole life and now the doctor says, we need to change this.
Right. It's been proven that, in the past several decades, blood pressure and heart disease has hurt society a lot. So after looking at drug therapy and everything, this committee was put together by the NIH years ago, and they did a big study to look at dietary patterns, not just one diet, but how people eat, what we eat, what's in our food and how much. And it was determined that for diet, for instance, they came up with this DASH dash, and that's an acronym for dietary approaches to stop hypertension.
Okay.
And it's just a balanced diet, cut out a lot of sugar and fat and sodium, increase magnesium and potassium, whole grains and things like that. And that should help treat hypertension. So I'm not a dietary expert, but I expect to highlight this DASH program so that people will be aware of that.
Okay. And it's really taking charge of your own body, but you do need to talk to your health professionals to find out what you really need in your own lifestyle.
Right.
To those people who say, you know what, I want to take that pill and keep living the way I live, does that work?
It would, but there's a limitation. For instance, if you're drinking so much and smoking a lot, and the doctor, plus in this presentation, I'm going to say, if you could stop smoking entirely. If you drink so much, cut down and possibly even stop, because those steps will help make the drugs work even better, and chances are the dose may go down or it will stay where it is, and you won't have to pay the money or risk other health conditions by taking more and more medication.
So you really, if you do have to take the medication, you still have to do the diet modification and lifestyle modification.
Right.
And if you can stay off of that pill as long as you can, the better, because it has its own side effects.
That's correct.
Right?
That's correct.
Okay.
And this would tie us into what we discussed last year, drug-drug interaction. It's not always just two drugs, attacking or interacting with each other. But food, alcohol, tobacco, they all interact with medications to make them not work optimally. So.
Okay. Well, you know what else it seems like we've talked about today? Life Quest.
There you go.
Right?
Yes.
Right? You want to take charge of your own body, make your own lifestyle modifications to be the healthiest you can be. And you're going to touch on that as well at this presentation. Yeah, you always do a great job explaining. You are very scientific at some points, but you wrap it around and explain to us lay people how it really works as well. And we appreciate your professionalism here at Shell Point.
Thank you.
We are lucky to have Yao speaking on Monday, March 3rd at 1:15 p.m. in the Social Center. You can sign up at either of the service desks to learn more about the treatment of hypertension. I'm Mary Franklin with Yao. Have a wonderful and healthy day.
The Shell Point Gift Shop is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. Let's learn more about its early history.
I wanted to do something different when I got here, and so I had decided that we were going to go to the village church, but I knew that only the people I would meet are those in church, so I wanted to meet other people. So one day I went in the gift shop, and I looked around. There wasn't anyone in there I knew, and I thought, well, this would be an interesting place to work. And gradually then worked in the shop and then served on the board many years. Bob Selkirk at that time was on the board.
When I first got here, there was a small room in the front part of which is one of the parts of the wood shop now, was the gift shop.
The first gift shop was located down in the tunnel between the health club and the wood shop, but it wasn't just the gift shop in there. The activities department had their offices there. You could put things in there to be sold, but the money and that type of thing, the activities people handled.
Just small wooden things, primarily bookends and things of that nature, rather rudimentary.
Later in '88, they decided to move the activities offices out. And that really hurt the gift shop. And so sales went way down. They were just like in maybe a couple $100 or even less that they would have a sale in a week. And it was rough for them. This group met, and they decided that something had to be done about the location.
Ruth Beck and Robin Wild and several other people were associated with the gift shop at that time.
In April of 1989, Peter Dyes and David Haverstick met with the gift shop committee and explained to them that they had found 550 square feet behind the motel office that we could use for a gift shop. And so they said that they had an interior designer had drawn up drawings of possible specialized ways to display things and cupboards.
So we had a floor layout and which was accepted, and that's how we got started.
And in June of 1989, there was an article in the Courier introducing the gift shop. There was another small article which I enjoyed reading. It said, name the gift shop. It suggested that you vote on a name. The first was the gift shop. The second was made by hand. The third was all original. And then there were the village crafts. And the last one was the gift box. Of course, you know who won. The gift shop. Would you have picked that one? In October of 1989, the minutes read, "We were concerned about the pink neon sign in the gift shop." Can you believe that? Pink neon? The interior designer was going to reevaluate this sign, and needless to say, it's not there today. The volunteers were having problems with a new adding machine. I chuckled at this. I thought, they thought they had problems with an adding machine. You ought to put a computer in and see what they would do. That's what we went through, changing with the computer.
I've seen the level of production has been quite startling. I mean, from simple, very simple, rudimentary things, the output became much more sophisticated. Each year you could almost see a step up. And it was quite encouraging to note that.
Everything is made or enhanced by residents. It's amazing, the different articles that are there.
There's a 6-drawer chest. I made a few for the gift shop, and boy, I've sold a number of those, and people just think they're lovely.
Hand knitted and children's clothing, and there's just everything. In 1993, we sold 700 cards the month of December, and in 2013 we sold 1,214 cards. So we do sell a lot of commercial cards at the gift shop.
Magazine racks, which you can pick up and carry and put from place to place, and make a lot of clocks. Little take-apart toy chairs for little 3 to 5-year-olds. The people up the gift shop, they say, "Gosh, we got to have some more of this, or we got to have some more of that." Well, I'm working on it, but I can only get to so many so fast.
The first thing I sold was a plastic bag holders that were made out of towels that you hung in your closet. I can remember very vividly. I took it in to the lady that was the merchandise manager, and she said to me, "What in the world is this thing?" And I explained to her what it was, and she said, "Well, I don't know if anybody would want anything like that around here or not, but if you want to leave it, we'll see if we could sell it." And do you know, the next morning I got a call from her. She said, "We sold that. Could you bring some more in?" So that was my first experience with the gift shop. At first, when they were down in the tunnel without any help, they had they made $135, and then in November they sold over $3,000 worth of merchandise just in 2 months, moving the location and being organized like they were. In 2003, our cumulative sales from the beginning reached $500,000, but in April of 2012, we reached over $1 million in sales at the gift shop. It's amazing. It really is. The gift shop only gets 10% of the sales. But with that money, we're not a money-making organization. We're here to serve. And so, through the years, we have given gifts to many things. The lighted Christmas tree in Lagoon was given, actually this is the 3rd Christmas tree that we have given. In 1994, Bob Selkirk built the lectern and the new sound system in the social center. We bought patio chairs for Pavilion Annex. One of the big things we bought is a piano for the arbor. We've given a total of $14,000 to the Employees Christmas Fund. I enjoy working with the people, have through the years, and have have developed many friendships with the ladies that work in the gift shop. And it was something that I was interested in, and I just wanted things to be the best for the gift shop, and I enjoyed doing that.
Gaz Goslin created a beautiful piece of shell artwork and then donated it to the Bailey Matthews Shell Museum on Sanibel.
I was a florist. I went to floral design school in Boston in the early 60s and then worked for somebody for 12 years and then decided if I wanted to make some money, I needed to own my own shop. So I opened a shop in Connecticut, Bloomfield, Connecticut, and the name of it was Flowers by Gaz. My first experience to Florida was Sanibel Island. It was just a paradise to us. Terry had seen a blurb in a local newspaper. They were looking for volunteers to make shell items for the annual shell fair. She basically said, "You need to go do this." So I did, and I learned how to make flowers. That was 1988, I think it was, and I've been a volunteer ever since. In 2012, the Shell Fair celebrated their 75th anniversary, and I wanted to be part of that excitement. So I created 4 new pieces for the show, and this was obviously the largest one. It is the largest piece that I've ever done. It measures 3 feet high and 2.5 feet wide. The shells that's most prominent into the piece are the coquina shells, which make up the 7 stems of lilacs that are in the piece. We had a lilac bush up in our home in Connecticut, and I literally took the lilac blossom apart to see how it was put together so I could emulate it. There are 3,500 of the coquina shells in this piece, and it takes 4 of the little shells to make one tiny floret that go into the lilacs, and it takes 125 of these to make one stem. And Terry made every single one of these for me. This I thought was kind of interesting. This is a little orchid, and you see there's several stems in the piece. I have 125 of these orchids in this piece. It takes 5 angel wing shells, pairs of shells, in order to make this one flower. Now these were collected when live shelling was allowed, way back. Obviously you couldn't do that today. To use the hinges from the angel wings is a rare occasion. It wouldn't happen today. A lot of patience. One cute story is when I first started doing this, Terry would often say to me, you know, there's a lot more to life than the S word, shells. So that's all I would talk about when we'd have company or what have you. It took me 200 hours total time from start to finish, and of those 200 hours, 16 of them were used to arrange the piece. Now, if I were in my flower shop arranging this with fresh flowers, I would say 20 minutes flat. But shell flowers don't bend. And if you break one, you have to make another one. It was recognized with 4 top awards. It won, and the one that I'm the most proud of is the People's Choice Award. The visiting public gets to vote on their favorite piece in the show. And that year there were 250 entries in the artistic division, and this piece won that award. Terry and I discussed what we were going to do with the piece. It was sitting in my studio at Shell Point, taking up room on my design bench. So Terry and I talked about the thought of donating it to the Shell Museum. This is the Bailey Matthews Shell Museum, and it's located on Sandcap Road, leading to Captiva on Sanibel. It's basically a museum for the science of shells, and there are other artwork art pieces, shell art pieces in the museum.
We've been open since 1995. And the museum, we see the museum as the continuation of the shelling experience that visitors will have on the beach when they're visiting here. 30 exhibits on all kinds of subjects related to shells. Scientific exhibits, the biology of shells, big shells, small shells, shells in art, you know, the whole gamut of experiences you may have when you think of shells.
And so I wrote a letter to Jose Leal, the curator, and the next day he called me and said that they would accept the piece. Terry subsequently passed away in late July, and I wanted to move forward with the donation, and I contacted Jose and asked if we could donate it in memory of Terry, which he was very willing to do. So in late November, during their annual open house here at the Shell Museum, they included the unveiling, and it was quite a ceremony. And I must add that at least 50 Shell Point residents attended this ceremony. The base was made right there at Shell Point in the wood shop by Tom Young. We were kayaking together one day, and his wife Roberta was there. And I turned to Tom and I said, well, would you like to build another pedestal? And she turned to me and she said, yes, he needs a project. So that's how Tom got to build it, and he did a fabulous job.
It is top-notch piece of work in associating shells with a given theme, in this case flowers. Goss has a training, and he worked for many years as a floral artist, and we can see that kind of emanating from his piece. You know, it's hard for someone to believe, looking at a given distance, that those are not real flowers.
As I was carrying it out of the art show to put it in my van, a bee landed on the lilac. So they say you can't fool Mother Nature. I guess I did.
The lilacs, they're made with little purple coquina, which is just one variation of a very variable species. You can walk the beaches here, you see yellow coquinas, brown coquinas, but the artist, in this case Goss, made a point of selecting just that color. The angel wings, likewise, pure white and a very nice texture to the shells. They have this kind of pebbly shell surface, and that's what Goss has used to great effect. So you probably also have a large number of those in the exhibit. If you put them together the way he did, you end up with this very nice effect, almost like a little orchid. And as you get closer to them, to the shells, to the piece of artwork, you realize it's shells, and it's just unbelievably beautiful.
I'm very honored that they have accepted my piece and that I'm part of this wonderful museum.
The Bay Singers are coming to Shell Point to perform on Thursday. We learn more from their musical director.
Hello, I'm Dave McJoint. I'm a resident here at Shell Point. I live in Eagles Preserve and have been here since 2006. But 16 years ago I started a choir, and that's why we're here today, because we're bringing the choir here to Shell Point on March the 6th at 7:15 in the village church to present a program that's really going to be interesting. And I'm here with our director, Mr. Bruce Galbraith. And Bruce brings us something very, very special to our show, which we haven't had before, because Bruce is a true showman. And he's a musician, but mainly he puts on a great show. So you don't want to miss it. 7:15, March the 6th, here at the church. Bruce, tell us a little bit about the show.
Well, first of all, thanks to you. We're glad to be back at Shell Point. We like singing here very much. The audience is great. And Randy Woods has been really helpful to us, the local music man, if you will. But the show this year is called Sing, Sing, Sing. Had a lot of fun putting it together. Every song has the word sing in its title.
That's interesting. That's good.
Well, everybody knows Sing, 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 the famous Louis Prima with the drums and all of that, and that'll happen because we have some instrumentalists helping us. But we start with a little bit of history of what singing has been, primarily in churches and then in madrigals, which were the social entertainment of the day in the 1500s, a long time ago, and then proceeding into some wonderful newer songs. But again, everything with sing, sing, sing. So it takes a worried man to sing a worried song is one, or Sing the Blues Away is another one that we're going to do, with a voice of singing, which is a wonderful church song a lot of people know. And so come and sing, come and listen to us sing, 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 because that's what the bass singers like to do.
Well, that's great. Bruce, and you know, as I said before, they've always got some surprises. So there's something for everybody in this show. I mean, there's laughs and surprises, and you'll want to come. And really, the best part of this whole thing, Bruce, it's free.
That's not a bad thing anytime, but we're worth it. In fact, we're better than that, I think. They're working really hard to make this a good show, and then we'll do it again at Bonita Bay, where you used to live, but we're glad we have this connection with you out here. This is great to be back.
Well, I'm thankful to the bass singers that they kind of grandfathered me in, because I started this in 1998. And was here for about 8 years, and then I decided to come to Shell Point, which has been a wonderful thing for me. But they said, no, you're going to stay around and stay with the bass singers. So I'm really glad that they've accepted me, and I'm still very active.
Well, we're going to make it worth your while, because I haven't told you this yet or not, but you're singing a solo that night.
Oh, boy.
So you better be ready. He's a good bass.
Oh, I don't know about that. But we'll certainly give it a shot. And it's always fun working with you, Bruce. And we want to be sure to remind people here that this is on March the 6th at 7:15 at the Village Church.
Come early, get a good seat.
We're glad you joined us for today's show. Tune in next week for more stories and news from around your community. Until then, this is Shell Point Today for the weekend of February 28th, March 1st, and March 2nd. I'm Jared Pike, and from all of us here at Shell Point TV, we hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you again on Monday.